learning perspective. So everything is from a learning perspective. So I'll give a brief overview about my company. Those who are watching my video, this might be a spam. Again and again, I am telling the same thing. But then for those who are new, we deal into research services wherein we provide advisory for stock investments, mutual funds, derivatives, and other products. Till now, the kind of services you would have found anyone will find in the market are very expensive. So this is towards people who want to invest and at an economical cost, they can do so via our company. Then educative services wherein we do webinars, workshops, live projects, which is like you learn from us in a course and then apply it in a live project, apply it in a form of an internship sort with us, right? Obviously, it's not an internship, a normal internship, it's a educational course. And then certification program wherein anyone can do certifications with us, appear for an examination and prove that metal. About me, I am Neeraj. I have close to 14 years of experience into stock markets. I had done my engineering and then my MBA into finance, and I was working in the industry for the last many years. 2018 was when I decided that I'll go full time into stock markets. I have, with this full-time experience of just 2 years, I have had this opportunity to get featured by Money Control twice. So it's a good read. It's on derivative strategies and how do you basically take derivatives as. So you can read that. The link is there on my website. So that's about me. What do we expect? So I want to set the clear context so that any one of you who is expecting something else maybe can drop off, right? So I don't want to waste your time and my time, right? So the idea is be on to whatever learning we are going to go through today, and everything that I'm going to cover today is from a practical aspect. So I'm not going to repeat things from a theoretical perspective as to what you have already learned into your formal education. At the end, I will be giving a sneak peek into technical analysis, wherein I will show you live how do you get started into technical analysis and how does it help, right? So stay tuned for. So let's get started. Why do we need this program, right? Why I am conducting this program? Many students asked me this. Some people asked me this. So see, I have this Panomax Financial Awareness Initiative, wherein what we do is we spread financial awareness in the form of basic awareness, which every individual should know. Like whoever is earning in the market, whether by a job or through a business, right? He or she will invest in somewhere. He will put money in an FD. He will put in a mutual fund. He'll put in an insurance policy or whatnot. But what happens is a lot of mis-selling happens. What happens? Bank people, sales people come to them. They propose something. You can check with your family, right? Within your family, your parents or your elders would have invested in a ULIP policy or insurance-linked investment plans. As per me, those are the worst investment plan anyone can do, right? Better to keep your money in an FD rather than putting it. FD is, by the way, a fixed deposit with bank, right? So all these mis-selling happens. They show you rosy pictures, dreams about your investments growing and whatnot. And because general public do not have enough financial awareness, they fall prey to it. So that kind of awareness we are trying to generate via videos, via messages, small snippets. So you can be a volunteer with us into this Panomax Financial Awareness Initiative. It's a social responsibility and a social cause, for a social cause. So you can spread that financial awareness amongst your circle. So we'll be rolling out a form. Whoever is interested to volunteer as a financial awareness volunteer with us, they can do so in your free time. You just forward that information, or at least just educate your near and dear ones, right? That would be more than enough. You educate your parents, that is more than enough, or your elders, right? That is more than enough. The second aspect of this financial awareness initiative is we give some practical aspects for students. I'll give my personal example. When I joined MBA in 2010, I had big dreams that I want to do something into finance and whatnot, right? And I want to join investment banking, and I was pretty naive at that time, right? I must admit. Now, everyone has that dream. I see that they want to get into consulting, they want to get into investment management, they want to become an investment banker, they want to do get into a hedge fund and whatnot. But then what happens is we have very outdated theoretical knowledge in our educational curriculum, and most of the certification programs and the kind of chartered programs also that are there in the market are all practical or all theoretical oriented. They will give you a lot of theory, you will learn a lot of theory, but then there's no practical orientation. So what happens is students do not get, I myself did not have enough exposure into how does things work. Thankfully, I was already into stock markets. I started off while I was doing my engineering. So I was there, but then I could see other people, they had no clue as to how practically things happen. Everything was just theory. So from this program, I want to bring in a little practical aspects as to how things work. Okay, so why do we need stock market, right? We need stock market because when someone is doing business, let's say I am doing business and I have deployed my own capital. So I will need capital. Let's take an example of a small shop in your vicinity, right? A grocery shop, let's say, right? He is doing business, right? And he is able to sell things, and he is able to make profit out of it. Everything is going pretty good for him. Now what he want to, and he is the owner of the full shop, right? And he is like buying stocks, buying stuff, selling it to the customers, right? That's his business. Now what happens is after 6 months he realizes that he is making decent profits or decent growth in his existing shop, but then there is opportunity in some other area where there is a new society that is coming up and he can open a new shop there, right? For that, he will need money. Now he will have money by him, like his own money, or he can go to a bank to take a loan. Or what additional thing he can do is he can find a partner. He can say, I am giving you, become my partner in business. I am giving you, let's say, 20% of my business ownership. And for that, you give me this much money, whatever the value of my company is, right? So this particular thing wherein the shopkeeper has given ownership of his company, 20% ownership of the company to the other person, is called he is giving the equity of the company to other. Equity is basically the ownership of the company, right? Now the other person who is also getting benefit in terms of he is having money, he can put that money into the business, and if the business grows, he will earn the returns, right? And he doesn't have to do the hard work by himself. He doesn't have to sit in the shop, sell the stuff, right? So the company will do it for him. He just need to invest money into the company. So that's what this is on a low scale that I'm talking about. On a high scale, if you'll see, this happens in companies, right? So if let's say Maruti Suzuki believes that they can sell more number of cars, they can have more plants, they will issue equity, they will share their ownership in the company to expand or for any other use that they have for the company. They will share the ownership, issue stocks to others, and investors will come, they will buy these stocks and give money to the company, right? Obviously this happens once. This doesn't happen every day. This will happen once or twice for the company. That's it. The company receives the money. This is called the primary market, wherein you would have heard IPO comes, FPO comes. Like recently IPO of IRCTC came, right? So this is the primary market. Now the friend of the shopkeeper who invested into his shop, let's say after 6 months he wants to exit, he wants money and he is happy with whatever profits he have made, returns that have come in this 6 months. Now he wants to exit. Now the shopkeeper will say, I didn't say that I will buy the ownership. I am not going to buy the ownership back, right? You have to basically sell it to someone else, find someone else, third party who will buy that. Therefore, a secondary market exists wherein investors buy and investors sell. So investors who have bought earlier will sell these stocks. Investors who want to invest new will buy these stocks. So what happens is, in this whole process, there is an exit option. So whoever has bought the stock of a company can exit at any point of time, so that if they have some emergency, they need the money, or they think their investment is not going good, the shop is not doing good, he can sell that stock to someone else, right? This is the crux of stock market, right? I will not talk about the participants and stuff. You can refer to the videos, right? But this is what happens. Yeah, so one of the question that has come up is, what is IPO, what is FPO? IPO is initial public offering, wherein when company wants to come and sell these shares to the investors for the first time. It's called an initial public offering. The next time, when let's say I have already given 10% ownership of my company, now next time I again want more money, so I will let's say dilute 10% more, so again come up with the same offer. That is called a follow-on public offering. So it's the same thing, just a certain nuances changes, because you have already given equity earlier, you are again coming up with an IPO sort. Okay. So this was not theoretical, but then this was the context of stock market. What happens, right? How do you benefit? How do anyone benefit? Or from a job perspective, if you are looking for, how do you benefit in this whole process, right? So see the stock prices, let's say this is stock of Reliance Industries. Okay. Now, forget everything, just think Reliance Industries came up with an IPO, let's assume, and they gave an IPO at a price of this, which is around 900 rupees. Okay. Now, how will the prices of this stock move, right? As the company performs, right? Let's say after 6 months or after 5 days, the company makes some good progress, is making good profits, or something positive has happened for the company. What will happen is the demand of the stock will go up, right? More and more investors would be ready to invest into the company. So what will happen? The stock prices will go up, right? And then something negative comes, the prospects become low, the prices will go down. So how prices go up and down is basically by demand and supply. Those who have studied economics would have studied demand supply in their theoretical subject. To give you a practical example of demand and supply, whatever thing has a demand, the prices of that will go up, right? And whichever doesn't have a demand and the supply is more and more people are ready to sell the thing, the prices will go down. A very good example at this point of time is the N95 mask, right? When there was no corona, nothing, the mask, there was hardly any demand for the mask, right? So in that perspective, what happened was the masks were selling for, let's say, 20 rupees. Now corona came into picture. Now everybody wants mask, right? People started, even before corona came into India, the virus spread into India, people started buying masks in anticipation. What happened? The demand went up. More and more people wanted to buy masks. So what happened? The shopkeepers started selling it for a higher price. They started selling it for 50 rupees, 100 rupees and whatnot. Why did it happen? Because the supply was still same. The shopkeeper had only 10 masks and 50 people are asking for it. So he increased the price so that whoever can pay that price can buy that, right? Now, gradually what happened is more and more businessmen thought, whoever were manufacturing the mask, they thought the demand is increasing, so let me manufacture more mask and put it in the market. So now the shopkeeper were getting more and more supply from the manufacturer, and he had 1,000 masks in his shop while only 200 people came to buy the mask. So shopkeeper will then reduce the price of mask and say rather than 100 rupees, I am selling it for 50 rupees. So that is what happened here, right? Reliance went up, the demand went up, the demand went down, and then Corona hit, the prices went up, right, father? So this is how on a day-to-day basis the prices move. Now many people ask me why the prices move every day, nothing is happening in the company, why will the prices move every now and then, right? So if you will see, demand and supply changes every second, every other moment, because the sentiment of the people are changing, right? Some people might be thinking that Reliance will go up, in that anticipation only the sentiment will change. Some people might think something else. So when there are infinite number of people working into this field, buying and selling stocks, some people might say there's demand, some people might say there's supply. So because of that, the fluctuations happen and markets move up and down. So this happens in the short term, but if you will see in the long term, it will be aligned with how the company performs, right? So short term, the prices went down, but that doesn't mean that the company was performing bad here. The company might be performing good, and that's why the prices eventually went up. Okay, so this is how it's basically demand and supply. But then at the end of the day, in the short term, it could be any news, any event that comes, and it affects the stock prices. Now, practically talking, you just think that the prices, you don't get confused with demand and supply and all those things. Just think that if more people are coming to buy the stock, the prices will go up, and if more people are planning to sell the stock, the prices will go down. Now, why this will happen is because of demand and supply, because of sentiments and whatnot. Okay, so now many people ask me that the Neeraj, the results of the company came, it is pretty good. Like current situation, crude oil is falling, so the oil marketing companies should benefit and all those things. Why the prices of those stocks are going down? See, in the short term, all these news events will not work. So my advice to whoever is actually doing investing or trading is to stop watching any kind of news, any kind of events based investing, right? Events are good for an investor. If you want to invest at this point of time and want to keep the stock for this whole move, it's good. But with news, you won't be able to capture this. It might happen, a very good news comes at this point and then the prices fall, right? So don't get into all this. Stock market doesn't work in that way, that if something good comes, the prices will eventually go up. Now I will tell you why, practically why that is. So I'm not just giving you this thought and saying you have to agree with me. I will tell you the rationale why it happens. See, when the news, when you get to know that this is happening, something is happening, let's say Reliance Industries, the recent news is Facebook is investing into the company. Okay, now this news, when it comes to you from whatever medium, it comes through news channel, it comes through media, or someone is working in Reliance, or somebody called you and told you, or you received a WhatsApp message. Whatever the news comes to you late. It is not coming to you immediately. Even before the news gets released, there are analysts, there are big people, there are big companies, FIIs, GIIs, who are continuously researching on this, right, as to what can happen. If there is there any investment that can be done, somebody might be doing any investment, some big party into Reliance. So they are already doing all those analysis. So they already have an idea. So what happened is, they already got to know, let's say at this point of time, that something good might be happening for the company. I'm not saying insider information. Please don't confuse with that. I am saying with their research, with their efforts, with whatever, they get to know something positive is going to happen in the company here itself, because they are more capable than you, right? So then what happens is, they already buy, so the demand comes into the market and the prices go up. Now at this point of time you get to know that prices of Facebook has invested into Reliance, let's say prices go up, and then these people who invested here, they think that they have already made a good profit, they will start selling and prices will go down, so they will sell and then they might again buy here. See, there's nothing wrong and right in this. It's just that you have to be careful as per your analysis or as per your thought process. You should understand that whatever news is coming to you is one, you are not the first person to hear that news. Everybody knows that. So if you think you will make a good decision by buying into the stocks, somebody else who is better equipped with that knowledge, who is better capable than you, because if you think you are more capable than a fund manager of a mutual fund or a FII or someone, then it's a different story. But if you think you have limited knowledge, you have limited capability, then don't argue with that, respect that fact and understand that the prices might go down in the short term. So don't trade on the basis of that. Now I will tell you what you should trade basis of, on what basis of, but then I'm just telling in the short term, don't take that decision. But for the long term investment, let's say you think that Facebook has invested, now Reliance will do pretty good for the next 5-10 years. For that perspective, if you have, then you can buy, and then you don't have to buy here. You can wait and the prices can come here and then you can buy, right? So these all things you will have to understand. This is basically comes into behavioral finance also. These things also come as a psychology into investing, which is more important than any analysis and stuff. So I will be rolling out some kind of webinar, some kind of courses on the psychology also. But then these all things you have to understand and then get into the market. Don't jump into the market otherwise. Okay, so I will come back, and now let's understand that this is the chart of Reliance. How do I read it? Is if some people here are very naive and they do not know how to basically understand this chart or